following is a local or statewide issue that may just start people talking across the country. A controversy in the state of Florida over a new choice of license plates. But it's not as trivial as it might sound or as some of the new plates may seem to some. Some anti-abortion legislators have pushed through a bill to create a special tag for those drivers who want to pay extra to support the cause. But critics say the state of Florida has no business doing that. With more on this for setup, we have this report from NBC News correspondent Kerry Sanders.
In this country where the license tag is an extension of people's personality, motorists in Florida will now have the option to express their politics. Specialty tags that say "Choose Life" will be offered after the governor signs the authorization into law.
You know, we've got, I don't know, over 40 license tags now. We will look at that when it comes to us. You know, wouldn't have been my choice of what we'd have at a license tag, where some of the others aren't, for that matter.
The debate in the state legislature over this tag was contentious.
You have to admit within your own minds that pro-life versus pro-choice is a controversial issue for a lot of people in the state of Florida.
The money raised with these plates will fund nonprofit groups that help pregnant women considering adoption.
If those that call themselves pro-choice truly are pro-choice, they wouldn't have a problem because life happens to be the other side of choice.
Florida legislators, like lawmakers in other states, have found specialty tags are a simple way to raise money.
We're talking about raising money with a tag to provide for adoption and to remind people that the life of young people is precious and we ought to choose life.
Florida has 40 different so-called specialty tags. The most popular is the manatee tag. Since it was first offered 8 years ago, the $15 tag has raised more than $19 million. The Florida Panther tag costs $25, and while not as popular, because it costs more than other tags, it has raised more than $20 million for protection of the rare endangered cat. The first specialty tag offered in Florida was to honor the crew of the Space Shuttle Challenger.
Liftoff of the 25th Space Shuttle mission, and it has cleared the tower.
The tag is not as popular as it once was, but since 1987, it's raised more than $31 million. The money funds space education and research. But some say using a tag for politics could be dangerous. Especially with such a divisive topic. The abortion debate on roads where people already cut each other off in a rage is a dangerous combination.
We've got a problem with road rage in the United States right now, with people running people off the road and shooting at people and all sorts of things, and I just think this is going to simply add to that climate.
Pro-life organizations in other states say they plan to petition for their own tags. What was once restricted to bumper stickers could soon become routine on state tags across the country. Kerry Sanders, NBC News, Miami.
The question, is this the type of thing the state of Florida, or any state for that matter, should be involved in? Here with their opinions tonight, Michael Wiener, the editor of the annual license plate book you just saw in the report. He is with us from Albuquerque, New Mexico this evening. And with us from Orlando, Florida, Randy Harris, chairman of the Marion County Commission. Gentlemen, good evening to you both.
Good evening, Brian. Good evening.
And Randy, I'll start with you, devil's advocate. No disrespect intended. Let's say I'm a neo-Nazi. I want the expression white power to appear on license plates. I want to give drivers the option to have it if they believe the way I do. Where do we draw the line here?
Well, I'm going to tell you, I'm not going to speak for the white supremacist neo-Nazis. They can speak for themselves. I will tell you that we have applied and we have an opportunity and we've met the requirements of the law, and any other group is certainly entitled to that opportunity.
And again, with our First Amendment, as tricky as it is, as generous as it is, that opens the door wide for all the groups we have in this country.
Well, let me tell you where the problem is going to be is if someone suggests that they're going to try to remove a political message from a license plate, then the task will be to weigh that against the First Amendment and come up with definitions of political messages. That could be very difficult. I'd have to agree that that could be tricky. I don't think it can be done, to be honest with you.
Michael Wiener, where do you come down on this?
Well, Brian, I think it's real clear that we need to look at the fact that in Florida they're about to open a door here that I don't think can ever be closed. Once you open the door to allow a Choose Life license plate, you obviously are going to have to open the door to allow the other side to come in. Once you do that, we've got this thing spreading like wildfire throughout the country, and I think bumper stickers are best used for this sort of purpose and not getting the state involved in sanctioning a particular point of view.
What do you do, Michael, about the fact that you've got a governor who's going to let it happen by his reasoning? He doesn't necessarily like this, but he hasn't liked all of them, and you've got lawmakers who want it to happen.
Well, I understand Governor Child's position, but I think he's doing a great disservice to a great many people in Florida. I'd remind the people that are watching that there's 14.5 million people approximately in the state of Florida. It took 10,000 signatures to get this to the legislature. If you do the numbers and the math on that, that's an infinitesimally small percentage of people in Florida who are behind this and supporting this. And I think there's a lot more damage potentially to be done by people who have vehicles registered in Florida who get this plate and then go to another state, and people are thinking, well, gee, the Florida, I thought it used to be the Sunshine State. Now it's the Choose Life State. And I think there's potential problems. You talked about road rage earlier. That's a big concern. I think these people are opening themselves up to becoming victims of having their cars keyed, scratched by people, maybe have their windows broken. I just don't think there's any place for this on the highways. We screen offensive messages off personalized license plates. I think we need to screen what types of plates get approved by the legislatures in this country, and I think this is a message that should not appear on a license plate. I think it should be vetoed by the governor.
Randy Harris, what about that? What about the group that wants something like abortion now on the license plates? And part two of the question, why not a bumper sticker for all of this?
Let me just suggest, I'm gonna have to disagree with what was just said. We have bumper stickers today all over the state of Florida with pro-life messages and pro-choice messages, and we don't have problems in Florida with road rage because as a result of these bumper stickers. I entirely disagree. We have proof today that that isn't a problem. We're not operating in a vacuum here. Additionally, anyone could suggest that our Save the Manatee or Save the Florida Panther, Save the Sea Turtle license plates are in fact political messages because very obviously the environmentalists would endorse all of those license plates, and we don't have problems here. So I wouldn't assume that there's going to be a problem as a result of this license plate.
Randy, can you understand the difference between honoring the fallen astronauts of the Challenger, trying to save an endangered member of all the species on the planet Earth, the manatee, and putting the state's imprimatur on one of the most divisive, on one side of the most divisive legal issues of all time? People are going to see that word at the top of the screen says Florida.
Well, I'll suggest to you that for the year that we had this in the works and it was well publicized throughout the state of Florida and around the country, we didn't have controversy. It wasn't until the 12th hour when this was in the legislature that some of the handful of opponents that actually rose up in the 12th hour realized that they couldn't acquire some of the funding that would be generated with this plate to give to Planned Parenthood and some of these other agencies that are involved in abortion. That's when it became an issue. And it was actually some media outlets that created this so-called controversy that's supposed to exist today. It really isn't out there. And it's very few, and it's mostly the media that's tried to generate this so-called opposition.
Well, we shall see what the future of this issue looks like. Michael Wiener, we thank you for your opinions tonight, as we do. Thank you, Randy Harris, very much, gentlemen, for coming on the air tonight.
Thank you.